So this is a great exercise of, or a good example of an exercise that's completely useless. And quite a few like natural horsemanship trainers do this. I don't know. I guess I thought since they did it that it was also necessary, but it's just like sending side to side. It really didn't do anything for my horses. It was always a struggle with them, like to do this lesson. It's really doesn't really serve any purpose. Like now that I'm watching him, like what am I getting him to do? Like why would I want him to go from one side to the other? I don't really know. There's really no sport or discipline that he would need to do this a lot. And it really is confusing to the horses. I saw most of my horses were very confused. Like you could see his tail swishing, his head's up, his ears are back. He doesn't understand what it is that I want. Like that swishing, he kind of trots off quickly. It just doesn't really serve a purpose. Um, like it's fine to say like you can do it, but like lunging serves a purpose. We don't want to do a ton of it, but it serves a purpose. Like you can get your walk, trot, canter cues. You can make sure they're moving good, getting used to saddles and things like that. But with this specific one, it doesn't really serve a purpose. And like the way that I learned it was like, oh, the horse can't be behind you. They need to be going quickly and like stopping parallel with you and then going forward. And it's like, okay, but why? And I think we need to look into that with a lot of our horse training is why is this lesson necessary? All my lessons that I teach are necessary and they build upon each other so that you can ride your horse or you can deworm your horse or do whatever it is that you want to do. But I think this one specifically is a good example of like what are we doing? Like why are we doing this? So just the whole time that he's doing this, he looks very unhappy. Every time I yell his hindquarters, every time I ask him to go, like here, pins his ears, he swishes his tail, his head and necks up. And it's just because I'm asking him to do something and then asking him to do something else and then do that same thing again and then do that same thing again. He's like, I don't get it. I don't understand what this is for. So this is just a good example of that. And then he runs out his shoulder that way. It is just physically very hard for them as well, especially in this arena and with this length of rope. Like he could have done this on a longer rope. This arena is very deep. So it's like we're just kind of adding things to that would make him unsuccessful. But I mean, again, it doesn't really serve a purpose, but to tire the horse out and kind of annoy him, like it could definitely do those things. Which I think some people definitely use lunging for that. And I like to use lunging to teach the voice cues, to get the horse used to the saddle, um, do stuff like that. Just prepare for riding in general. And then I stop doing it. Like Dakota, my quarter horse, I don't lunge her at all unless I'm going to teach her something else. Like if we're going to work on the canter, then we can work on that. But this just kind of gets them going or gets them scared for really no reason. That like there's really nothing that I can figure out that this will be good for. I mean, you could send the horse, you could maybe send him over jumps, but you don't really need to send him back and forth. And it really doesn't matter if he is not even with my body and he falls behind like the line of my body. Like that's fine. That's not a big deal. And like afterward, you can see him like, oh, stress is over. He's shaking his head. He's licking and chewing. He's putting his head down. He can finally relax now after all of that. So really, like this is just a good example of like let's question the exercise. Why are we doing it? What's its purpose? What's the end goal? Is it just to do this exercise really well? Because that's not really helping anybody.